right, we've got defensive coordinator Mark Snyder. We'll start standing in the back. Daryl, Khadijah. Standing in the back.
Coach, I think you'll let Chelsea ask you the first question.
Where's she at?
Right there.
Hi, Miss Snyder. How are you? Good. Yeah, I've already answered all your questions and your mom's.
Griff, we'll go right here. Seated in the middle right.
Coach, you're coming up against the #1 rushing offense in the SEC this week. You know, what's your plan of an attack to really hinder that part of their game?
Well, I mean, you know, we've been working on this for quite a while. We work on it through the spring, through fall camp. Obviously, we had a couple weeks getting ready for South Carolina, and some of that recall is going to have to come back for some of our guys. This won't be the first offense that we face that likes to run the ball. You know, we thought we'd get a good dose of that in the first game of this year, and but they're awfully good. There's no doubt. Brett knows what he's doing. You know, I spent 10 years in the Big Ten going against Coach Alvarez. That's where he got it from. You know, we got to build a wall, stop the run, and got to have great eyes on the back end.
Standing in the back, Daryl.
Coach, can you talk about the depth of your defensive line? I mean, obviously, even your defense as a total, this is where it's going to come in handy.
There's no doubt. You know, we watched last year's game, and Alonzo, Obi, Gavin played about the whole game. You know, and that's rough duty when you've got guys this big laying on you for an entire game, and these guys are really big. Yeah, I think the depth's going to help us some. We got a nice little rotation going, and it's going to be interesting to see how we stack up.
Right side here, Gabe.
How pleased was it to see Sean Washington come back, your assessment of his performance, and how important you think he'll be Saturday? Well,
you know, Sean's still a work in progress, Gabe. You know, we moved him positions, and it was a little bit more spread out Saturday, which kind of played to his strengths. You know, he's inside. It's different than playing outside. There's still some work to do there, but the thing that Sean's going to bring to the table is a very physical presence, you know, against these running backs. These guys are good. You know, they got 3 good running backs. Two of them are pretty big, and Sean's going to bring some strength on the inside for us.
Here in the middle, Casey.
Coach, Kevin Sumlin said that the most improvement he saw from Arkansas was at Brandon Allen. What threats do you see for him this week?
He's just running the offense. You know, they run so well, and he's completing balls. You know, that most of their passing game is not real scientific. You know, the routes aren't real hard. The problem is he's delivering the ball, you know, and he's got a really good tight end. I mean, I think this guy's not getting enough credit. Hunter Henry. I thought South Carolina's tight ends were good. He's right there with them now. And Brandon's delivering the ball to those guys, the tight ends and number 4.
Go over here in the middle to Sam. We'll come back to Brent.
What's your confidence level with some of your younger defensive linemen like Miles or Quayland or Zakoven in this situation?
It's going to be interesting. You know, it's going to be fun to watch these guys play. I can't answer that question right now, Sam. We'll know a lot more come Saturday because they're going to have to play.
Brent here in front.
I guess I've kind of become the Jay Arnold beat writer here, but what kind of guy is he to coach? He seems like he would be at least interesting to coach.
Jay's interesting. He's a high-level, high-energy guy. That brings, you know, some toughness, some smarts to the defensive line. And you know, at practice he puts you in mind of Spencer. I mean, he really does, of what he brings to the table. You know, he's limited athletically a little bit. He knows that, but he's a tough guy, and he's smart, and he plays with a high motor, and that gives him a chance.
Do you have an example of his intellectuality, if that's word?
His personality or his brains?
Yeah, his brains.
His brains. Well, he's there with those older guys. I mean, Alonzo's played a lot. Obi's played a lot. You know, we're going to get some big giant sets from Arkansas, and you really don't have time for a linebacker to get you lined up when they run to the line of scrimmage with 7 guys over there and 4 guys over there. Jay's the kind of guy like those guys that can get themselves lined up and get moved into the gaps they need to get moved into. And that's very comforting as a coach. You know, that's where the young guys, it's going to be interesting to see how they react to some of those situations, and I got to be smart where we play those guys Saturday.
Seated here on the right side.
You know, you got a lot of guys that really like to go after the ball. They're high intensity, and the next 3 weeks you're going to be facing some pretty big offensive lines. What are you doing to remind them to stay paced through the game, and that way you can keep your guys fresh as you're rotating?
You talking about on the back end?
Well, I'm talking up on the front line. You're going to have a lot of bigger offensive lines these next 3 weeks.
Right.
So how do you keep your guys, keep them cool and collected to stay fresh throughout these games?
Well, we just got to roll them. We just got to roll them like we've been rolling them. And this will be their first real test. They got in the game a little bit against South Carolina. We were smart how we played them. We only played 62 snaps that game. That helped us. Our offense was on the field a whole lot. And then we kind of got their feet wet these last 3 weeks. So to me, really, for the young guys, this will be their first test against what we're going to see, in what I think is the best conference in the country, the best side in the country, by far, bar none. It's going to be a 1 week playoff every week on the West.
Far left side, Cease.
Mark, with Alabama throwing the ball more, and you've got Auburn and MSU with running quarterbacks, and you mentioned about being in the Big Ten, is Arkansas more of just power football that they just run right at you?
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. I mean, they're gonna make you defend the run and try to go over top, get behind you, and with the deep balls, and keep the chains moving with intermediate passing game. But yeah, it's no secret what we're going to see, what you guys are going to see Saturday.
Right side in the middle, Olin.
Hi, Mark. We've heard it said that we're going to find out more about the defense this week, but y'all played what I thought was a similar style team, similar style offense in the first game, and did very well. Number one, I guess I'm asking, didn't y'all not learn what you needed to learn in that game?
Yeah, we did, no doubt. Yeah,
and then
I agree with you, no doubt. Yeah.
So is there something that Arkansas presents that's much different from South Carolina?
No. Not really. I mean, I think South Carolina's passing game is a little bit more intricate than we're going to see, but the same plays we prepared for in the 2 weeks leading up to South Carolina in the run game are the same plays we're preparing for right now. So
we'll go to Mike in the back, standing, then we'll come over to Zach.
How important is it going to be for Master Giovanni to fill the gaps this weekend against Arkansas? Is that the main key?
Yeah, no doubt. Linebackers got to. We all do. And the thing about this offense, guys, all 11 people on defense are going to have to tackle. End of story. I mean, that's who they are. His goal is to get the ball to the corners. He wants to see your corners tackle his running backs. And thus far this year, he's had pretty good success getting that done.
Time for a couple more. We'll go Zach, and then we'll finish with Sam.
Coach, can you talk about getting Devontae back and what your impressions were of him playing in the last game?
Yeah, we're happy to get Devontae back. Devontae's played a lot of football around here, and he played decently well in this game last year. So it's good to get him back. That gives us some depth, some more experience in the back end.
Sam?
Your thoughts on Nick Harvey's play the last couple of games?
Good. Nick's played well. Nick's played well. He'll play some. I don't know that this is necessarily his type of game for us on defense. Now that we're getting Devontae back, there'll be a lot of three-man rotations on our defense in the back end, DBs and linebackers. And then we got to roll the big guys up front as we see fit.
And how is Josh Walker doing?
He's doing okay. He's coming. He's a freshman. He got a long way to go still. But I like Josh. He's just like those guys were last year. He's gotten thrown into the fire a little bit. Thank goodness we don't have to play him if we don't want to, which was not the case last year. We had to play Jordan and those guys. So he's doing well. He's coming. He's right where he needs to be, where you'd think a freshman would be at that particular position, because there's a lot on his plate right now.
We'll end it here in front, Dennis.
Mark, I asked this of Kevin too, but what's it like going through this now that you get into the meat of the schedule week after week, and particularly early, at least the last 2 years, you have to be ready right away from your standpoint? Right,
you talking about getting into the meat of our schedule here? Like I said, I think it reminds me of a playoff situation. I mean, every week is something real. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. You got to bring your A game every single week on our side. There's no doubt about that. And the team that does that is going to be the team that wins the game. And that's going to be like that for the next 4 weeks for us.
Are you surprised 4 weeks in that 5 of these teams are undefeated?
You know, maybe a little bit. You know, now that I'm getting to see them now a little bit on TV and watching a little bit of film on them, that's why I'm coming to the conclusion I'm coming to. This west side of our conference is really good. It would be interesting for a historian to look back. I'd like to know what side of any conference was ever this deep. It would be interesting.
All right. Thanks, Coach Snyder.
All right. Thanks, gang.
Got Coach